Today is day 6 for the Come Follow Me study for this week, May 4th through the 10th. Rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear. Numbers 11 through 14, 20 through 24, and 27. Saturday, May 9th, 2026, Numbers 23 through 24 and 27. Numbers 23. The Lord commands Balaam to bless Israel. Numbers 23, 1 through 8. And Balaam said unto Balak, Build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 oxen and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balaam and Balak offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. And Balaam said unto Balak, Stand by thy burnt offering, and I will go, peradventure the Lord will come to meet me, and whatsoever he showeth me I will tell thee. And he went to an high place. And God met Balaam, and he said unto him, I have prepared 7 altars, and I have offered upon every altar a bullock and a ram. And the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth, and said, Return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. And he returned unto him, and lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princes of Moab. And he took up his parable, and said, Balak the king of Moab hath brought me from Aram, out of the mountains of the east, saying, Come, curse me Jacob, and come, defy Israel. How shall I curse, whom God hath not cursed? And how shall I defy, whom the Lord hath not defied? What impresses you about Balaam's response in Numbers 23:8? Elder Bruce McConkie said, What a story this is! Here is a prophet of God who is firmly committed to declare only what the Lord of heaven directs. There does not seem to be the slightest doubt in his mind about the course he should pursue. He represents the Lord, and neither a house full of gold and silver, nor high honors offered by the king can sway him from his determined course, which has been charted for him by that God whom he serves. But greed for wealth and lust for honor beckon him. How marvelous it would be to be rich and powerful, as well as having the prophetic powers that already are his. Perhaps the Lord will let him compromise his standards and have some worldly prosperity and power, as well as a testimony of the gospel. Of course, he knew the gospel was true, as it were, but why should he be denied the things his political file leader could confer? I wonder how often some of us get our direction from the church and then, Balaam-like, plead for some worldly rewards and finally receive an answer which says, in effect, if you are determined to be a millionaire or to gain this or that worldly honor, go ahead, with the understanding that you will continue to serve the Lord. Then we wonder why things don't work out for us as well as they would have done if we had put first in our lives the things of God's kingdom. What are the rewards of unrighteousness? They do not include seeking for worldly things, when these run counter to the interests of the church. And don't we all know people who, though they were once firm and steadfast in testimony, are now opposing the Lord's promises and interests on earth because money and power have twisted their judgment of what should or should not be? Numbers 23, 9 through 12. And from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, and the number of the 4th part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his. And Balak said unto Balaam, What hast thou done unto me? I took thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast blessed them altogether. And he answered and said, Must I not take heed to speak that which the Lord hath put in my mouth? What impresses you about Balaam's response in Numbers 23:12? Balaam does so, saying, Who can count the dust of Jacob, and what hath God wrought? Numbers 23, 13 through 26. And Balak said unto him, Come, I pray thee, with me unto another place, from whence thou mayest see them. Thou shalt see but the utmost part of them, and shalt not see them all, and curse me them from thence. And he brought him into the field of Zophim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. And he said unto Balak, Stand here by thy burnt offering, while I meet the Lord yonder. And the Lord met Balaam, and put a word in his mouth, and said, Go again unto Balak, and say thus. And when he came to him, behold, he stood by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. And Balak said unto him, What hath the Lord spoken? And he took up his parable, and said, Rise up, Balak, and hear, hearken unto me, thou son of Zippor. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither shall he see perverseness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brought them out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of an unicorn. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath God wrought? Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion, and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey, and drink the blood of the slain. And Balak said unto Balaam, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. But Balaam answered and said unto Balak, told not I thee, saying, all that the Lord speaketh, that I must do. What impresses you about Balaam's response in Numbers 23:26? And Balak said unto Balaam, come, I pray thee, I will bring thee unto another place. Peradventure it will please God that thou mayest curse me them from thence. And Balak brought Balaam unto the top of Peor, that looked toward Jeshimon. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 bullocks and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. Numbers 24. Balaam sees a vision and prophesies of the destiny of Israel. Numbers 24, 1-11. And when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he went not, as at other times, to seek for enchantments, but he set his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel abiding in his tents according to their tribes. And the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, he has said, which heard the words of God, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel! And the valleys are they spread forth, as gardens by the river side, as the trees of line aloes, which the Lord hath planted, and as cedar trees beside the waters. He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters, and his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath as it were the strength of an unicorn. He shall eat up the nations his enemies, and shall break their bones, and pierce them through with his arrows. He couched, he lay down as a lion, and as a great lion. Who shall stir him up? Blessed is he that blesseth thee, and cursed is he that curseth thee. And Balak's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he smote his hands together. And Balak said unto Balaam, I called thee to curse thine enemies, and behold, thou hast altogether blessed them these 3 times. Therefore now flee thou to thy place. I thought to promote thee unto great honor, but lo, the Lord hath kept thee back from honor. Doctrine and Covenant 76. I, the Lord, delight to honor those who serve me in righteousness, and in truth unto the end. Numbers 24, 12-13. And Balaam said unto Balak, spake I not also to thy messengers, which thou sentest unto me, saying, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the commandment of the Lord, to do either good or bad of mine own mind. But what the Lord saith, that will I speak. What impresses you about Balaam's response in Numbers 24:13? The prophet Joseph Smith said, the object with me is to obey and teach others to obey God in just what he tells us to do. It mattereth not whether the principle is popular or unpopular. I will always maintain a true principle, even if I stand alone in it. I made this my rule. When the Lord commands it, do it. Numbers 24:14-17. And now behold, I go unto my people. Come therefore, and I will advertise thee that this people shall do to thy people in the latter days. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam the son of Beor hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, he has said, which heard the words of God, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty falling into a trance, and having his eyes open. And I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel. Because biblical prophecy uses the imagery of royalty, some believe that at his first coming the Messiah would save them from political bondage. Jacob foresaw that Shiloh would come, to whom people would gather. Moses prophesied, "There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel." Isaiah envisioned a child born, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. Of the increase of peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom. Micah recorded that from Bethlehem shall he come forth to be ruler in Israel. Jeremiah saw that a king shall reign and shall execute judgment and justice. However, such royal prophecies of a king and a ruler would find fulfillment in the Messiah's second coming rather than his first. Numbers 24:17 continued, "And shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth." 2 Samuel 8, "David smote Moab, and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground. Even with 2 lines measured he to put to death, and with 1 full line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servants, and brought gifts. King David did dictate alms from the spoils unto the Lord, with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he subdued, of Syria and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of Amalek, and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. And David gat him a name when he returned from smiting of the Assyrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons, and all they of Edom became David's servants." Josephus said Balaam foretold that calamities would befall the several kings of the nations, and the most eminent cities, some of which of old were not so much as inhabited, which events have come to pass among the several people concerned, both in the foregoing ages and in this generation after Jesus Christ, till my own memory, both by sea and by land, from which completion of all these predictions that he made, one may easily guess that the rest will have their completion in time to come. David's conquests cannot be taken as complete fulfillment of Balaam's prophecy. It was just the beginning. The star and the scepter represent the heavenly light and royal authority with which Christ will rule Israel during the millennium. The preparations for that day include destruction upon Israel's neighbors, especially Moab. Most Old Testament prophecies come from prophets who lived long after King David's reign. Centuries later, the theme Moab's destruction is still a recurrent theme. Isaiah prophesied a burden upon Moab. Jeremiah elaborated both their sins and judgments. Ezekiel, Daniel, Amos, and Zephaniah all prophesied about Moab. Isaiah 16, "And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment, and hasting righteousness." We have heard the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness, and his pride, and his wrath. But his lies shall not be so. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab. Every one shall howl. For the foundations of Kirhareseth shall ye mourn. Surely they are stricken. Numbers 24:18-19. "And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession of his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come up that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city." Balaam prophesies of the Messiah. There will come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter will rise out of Israel. Numbers 24:20-25. "And when he took on Amalek, he took up his parable, and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his later end shall be that he perish forever. And he looked on the Kenites, and took up his parable, and said, Strong is thy dwelling place, and thou puttest thy nest in a rock. Nevertheless the Kenites shall be wasted, until Asher shall carry thee away captive. And he took up his parable, and said, Alas, who shall live when God doeth this? And ships shall come from the coast of Chittim, and shall afflict Asher, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever. And Balaam rose up, and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way." Elder Brewster McConkie said, in spite of all this, the record recites that Balaam taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. And shortly thereafter he aligned against Israel in the camps of the Midianites. He was slain with the sword. The full account of these events is found in Numbers 22:23, 24:25, 31:8, 2 Peter 2:15 through 16, Jude 1:11, and Revelations 2:14. Balaam the prophet, inspired and mighty as he once was, lost his soul in the end because he set his heart on the things of this world rather than the riches of eternity. What a wealth of meaning there is in these inspired words of Joseph Smith, words addressed to people who have testimonies, but want to mingle the things of this world with them. Behold, there are many called, but few are chosen. And why are they not chosen? Because their hearts are set so much upon the things of this world and aspire to the honors of men. Ponder how you can remain faithful to the Lord despite pressure from others. Numbers 25. The Israelites who worship false gods are slain. Phinehas slays the adulterer and stays the plague. Israel is commanded to vex the Midianites who beguiled them. Numbers 26. Moses and Eleazar count the Israelites on the plains of Moab near Jericho. The males 20 years and older, excluding Levites, total 601,730. Only Caleb and Joshua remain from those numbered at Sinah. Numbers 27. The law of inheritances to sons, daughters, and kinsmen is explained. Numbers 27, 1 through 11. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and these are the names of his daughters, Mahlah, Noah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moses, and before Eleazar the priest, and before the princes, and all the congregation by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against the Lord in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin and had no sons. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family, because he hath no son? Give unto us therefore a possession among the brethren of our father. And Moses brought their cause before the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren. And thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a man die, and have no son, then he shall cause his inheritance to pass unto his daughter. And if he have no daughter, then he shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. And if he hath no brethren, then he shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then he shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman, that is next to him in his family. And he shall possess it, and it shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as the Lord commanded Moses. Moses will see, but not enter the promised land. Numbers 27, 12 through 14. And the Lord said unto Moses, Get thee up into the mount Abarim, and see the land which I have given unto the children of Israel. And when thou hast seen it, thou also shalt be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother was gathered. For he rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, in the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah, at Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. Joshua is called and set apart to lead Israel. Numbers 27, 15 through 23. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And the Lord said unto Moses, Take thee Joshua the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay thine hand upon him, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before the Lord. At his word shall they go out, and at his word they shall come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation. And Moses did as the Lord commanded him. And he took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the priest and before the congregation. And he laid his hands upon him and gave him a charge, as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses. The event described here is the ordination and setting apart of Joshua to the priesthood held by Moses. Elder Bruce McConkie said, special blessings, anointings, sealings of anointings, confirmations, ordinations, callings, healings, offices, and graces are conferred by the laying of hands by the Lord's legal administrators. As with all the Lord's prescribed procedural requests, the proffered blessings come only when the designated formalities are observed. According to the order of God, ordination to offices in the priesthood are performed by the laying on of hands. Setting apart to positions of presidency, administration, or special responsibility comes in the same way.